What's up? What's up? I am back. It is me, Mr. Rena Shooting Star, with another blog. Yeah, so it is Friday night, people. It's Friday night. The air is very right. The sun has been basking all day. Really, it really hasn't really. I mean, it's been quite cloudy actually, but there is that humidity. Like there's just this heat that's rising from the sun that's been blazing on the ground. So yeah, that humidity is everywhere, and it feels good. So yeah, it's a very nice night. How is everybody's night going, afternoon going? Well, went. I hope it's been going well. And so I'm just going to give you an update as to what's been happening in London and my observation, others' observation, and just keep you updated. Right. So, Channel 4 just did a program called Dispatches Hidden Homeless, and it features a guy, a black British guy who works as a security guard for, what is it, Prada in Bond Street. I know that area very well because I did used to work down there um, before, so it's very posh, as you can imagine, a security guard. And he basically lives in a homeless shelter, and he works in the most richest like company in the world, and I 100% believe him. Like, it's just so true. And he's on 0 hour contract and only gets £8.50 an hour. I mean, that wage has been stagnated. It's been like that in that particular wage since 1997. It hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone up with the cost of inflation. And the poor guy is literally homeless in a homeless shelter, wakes up and goes to work as a security at Prada, and I just felt really sorry for him, and the program just needed doing because every time people like him talk about their situation, we've had really negative, nasty trolls online saying, "So what? At least he's got a roof over his head, even though he has to share with like 100 crackheads in a homeless shelter." But as he was saying in the program, he feels safer out on the streets than inside there because of all the crazy people that he has to share with, all the drug addicts. So, he feels like he can't sleep, like he feels like a zombie basically because he hasn't had a proper rest. I mean, spending a hard day at work and then coming home to a homeless shelter full of crackheads. It's just really sad, and I do feel sorry for guys like him because when he did go to the council to talk about his situation, they said he was vulnerable and they couldn't help him, and it just shows that there are a lot of homeless men in London, and it's usually you know men of color because they don't have the means to afford the private rents. So yeah, and also the ever shortening of social housing, it really is affecting a lot of people in London, and it's just been ignored for so long, and we've had all these right wing haters who've just you know allowed it to happen, and just ignored the whole point of 0 hour contracts because it benefits the rich. They don't have to pay much money to their workers. They can stash it up and send it abroad and go to their Caribbean holidays 4 times a year. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was really interesting to watch, and just thought I'll give my view on it, and just wondering, what's going on. Like, it just shows you what London is about. London is for everybody but Londoners, and Londoners are the enemies of are treated like enemies, as you can see by the working poor, such as the guy as a security guard in Bond Street. And when did this happen? It just happened with all this international marketing of London as a global city of the corrupt world, and that's when Londoners have been pushed aside, really. And I've had a YouTuber talk about when a certain YouTuber came to London, viewed, you know, basically saw like black cab drivers and black um, delivery riders and their bicycle, and everybody else is, who's benefiting is, white. It just shows, what's happening, and you don't see many black people using the tube anymore. Like even even the tube is like, hey, even the even the tube is like something really they're making it sound like it's some posh place. It's the tube. It stinks, for God's sake. It's underground. There's nothing to do you know what I mean? There's nothing to be proud of it, really. I mean, seriously, it's the tube, and you don't even see that many black people on the tube, and that's just the situation. So yeah, the program, if you want to catch up, if you've got catch up on your TV, is Dispatches, Channel 4, Working Poor. You will literally get a real life account of what is happening in London, not this fakeness that you're seeing promoted from the mayor's office, which is Sadiq Khan, trying to promote London as a lovely, happy place where it's open and everyone's welcome. It really isn't. It just really isn't. So well done to Channel 4 for they're really doing some really excellent investigative journalism, and I know they're independent. They're not like um, they're not biased to certain media or newspaper coverage or anything like that. So yeah, it just gives a true account of what's happening. Yeah, watch it. Yeah, I haven't watched it too because I've had like a really hi Betty, hi. Yeah, I've had a really busy night today. Just cooking and chilling and um, tweeting and watching a protest. So uh, that is definitely worth watching and getting an insight as what's happening in London. So yeah, how is everybody? How was your Friday night going? I hope everybody's feeling relaxed and getting ready for the weekend. Hopefully it's hot, and but these things do need discussing. I would also like to talk about how I saw a post on Facebook. Apparently, the Home Office and the police have been using, black boys that are caught shoplifting sweets as spies for gangs. So literally, they've been used to spy into gangs. They've been used as spies. Innocent children are getting involved in grassing up gang members, criminals of London. So this goes directly against their human rights because you don't use other people's children as clickbait for doing your job. Basically, they don't benefit from this. They're putting their lives at risk, and it came out on the newspaper today. I saw it, and Diane Abbott is absolutely shocked. I love Diane Abbott. She's the only one who's just speaking up about racism, and she's the only one being attacked by the right wing media. She's the only one talking about the Yardwood detention centres all over the country. But this just takes the biscuit. I mean, kids caught shoplifting for something really minor being used as spies. Like, come on, this is just so bad. It just shows just how, I mean, literally, the black community in the UK just have no power. Diana is a soldier. I call her auntie. There's another YouTuber, who was talking about auntie, and everybody on social media called Diane auntie, and people can't believe, like, they're like, why are you calling her auntie? Like, just because she's black, like you girls are calling her auntie, but it's just a respect thing because she is an auntie who's looking out for our interest, and this takes the biscuit. Someone's kid is being used as a spy, and they're also being told to lie against their parents, which is an utter crime. Like, hello, they just seem to be getting away with so much. And where is the outrage? Because obviously the black community doesn't have anybody. They're not strong. They're like on the lower end of the totem pole, and as they can clearly see, that's where they want us to be. And they're taking the piss by, like, breaching people's children's human rights. And where is the outrage? Obviously nobody's gonna speak up about it because they mostly target black children, so all black boys must be gang members. So they've got that propaganda stereotype put on them. But yeah, this is actually officially they've admitted it, and they're trying to you know they're not even stopping it. Once they've admitted it and people have caught them out on it, they're actually saying we want more permission to continue it because we need to, stop gang crime in London. So Mr. Sadiq Khan, the complete wet fish, the sellout, you know, has given his blessing for this because apparently all the knife crime in London is embarrassing him. So yeah, he's giving the Met to permission to do whatever they want. Let's face it, he's not black, is he? He's Indian, Asian, whatever. And he clearly doesn't care about his community nor black people's community. So yeah, so things may look all fancy and dandy in London, but they clearly are not. And there's these big major human rights um, things that are taking place, and nobody has the capability to even talk about it or be outraged about it. I mean, I've seen that they put it on Facebook, but yeah, parents will say, oh, that's well out of order, but do they have the means to even complain? No, they don't, because they're so downtrodden. And if you watch the program on Channel 4, they're working 0 hours and can hardly keep a roof over their heads, so they don't have any power at all to challenge this. So well done to Diane Abbott for staying on the right side of politics and trying to do something about it, and by being outraged. But she's only one person, so people should really big her up. And I just think that's why we need to voice our concern, using whatever means to get it heard, like because it truly is shocking. It just shows what will they do next. This is um, race targeted breach of human rights, uh, and they talk about diversity, but really, what this is why we need diversity, because of what's happening. So yeah, that's what's happening in London, and it's quite shocking. Another thing I want to talk about is apparently Donald Trump. Yeah, he was here last week in London, and he brought his humongous helicopters, like 6 of them. So his security forces would like fly really low in London, and the helicopters were so loud. I think they're called, is it the Austerley or whatever it is? But it's a really expensive helicopter. It costs so much to like put petrol in it. And he just wanted to make a statement and show off because people were protesting on the ground. He had to be, shuttled about by air on helicopter to go to Scotland and meet the Queen, and yeah, to avoid all the protesters. But even the protesters, like honestly, it was just the protests. It was just too big, too organized, and it was only white people that were there. Like it seemed like it anyway. Like only middle class, like you know, white people were there to protest Donald Trump. But it didn't really make sense. What are they protesting? Is it because he's not like a proper Blairite type of. I know, it's really annoying. Like all these planes are just flying low. I don't know why. It's like they want to go sightseeing. I'm telling you, like, why are they so damn low? But Donald Trump's took the mick though, because his one, because you have to go sort of. He was going up north, so there's a direct flight path. So, it was just so low. It's like he wanted to see the chimneys or something, like to see, the chimney tops of houses. It was no need for it to be so low, and there was no need to have a flipping jet army you know, um, honestly, he had a jet army literally, and it's just there was no need for that. It was just noisy, noise. I mean, I did go out and see it, and then they had like these drones following him. Like, what the hell? Why couldn't he just get on a bicycle like Boris? Boris Johnson is a Tory. Even he takes the bicycle. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, you wouldn't expect the American Prime Minister, the president, to go on a bicycle because they have to be in this humongous, massive American cars that are just so big and just can't fit in tiny London roads. But yeah, he didn't even get a chance to be in a car because he avoided London. He just went by airplane everywhere, and when he took the car out, it was to go in Scotland. So yeah, that's what's happening. And yeah, finally, Piers Morgan, the guy that works for ITV, he did a interview with him. He went into Air Force One, and Pierce is like the same generation as Donald Trump, so they know each other. They're both former bad boys, whatever. So they like each other, and he's the only person he let in to interview him because he likes him. And he got in the plane, and Pierce was so excited. He was going around looking at the pictures, looking at the menu to see what Donald Trump eats, and just the questions he was asking him is like, "What's happening with Brexit? What did Theresa May say?" You know, he did. It was a really good interview. But one thing I wish Pierce did was go in the toilets, to be honest. Like, you know, come on. You could have at least gone to the toilets and took a picture to see what Air Force One toilet looks like. But no. And it was so funny at the end of the interview, he stood behind him and Donald Trump was like, "Get out of my plane," as a joke. He's like, "Pierce, why are you still here? Go." And he's like, "Yeah, okay. If the president of America says go, Secret Service are there, so you have to go, Pierce. It's not funny." And he went, and he's like, "Bye." And yeah, it's quite funny. I do recommend everyone to watch it. It's Piers Morgan with the president at Air Force One. And the funny thing is, after during the interview, whatever, basically the American president, wherever he goes, the airport closes. That's how powerful he is. I mean, he's the powerful man in the world. So the airport closes. You know how, like in Africa, when the president lands somewhere, that they have to literally the airport closes too, because Africans are into that, all the African leaders. But the American, leader went to London, and it was Stansted. Yeah, they were using Stansted Airport, and the whole airport was closed, and everybody was delayed because of Piers Morgan's interview, asking him about um, whether what is it whether what he's gonna do with North Korea and Russia and stuff like that. So it was so interesting. You have to watch it, and I'm glad I watched it, and I think I'm glad he did the interview. And all the haters were like, "Oh, Morgan, why did you interview him? He's a baby, blah blah blah." And it's like, come on now, like, why are you trying to undermine him? Like, he was already voted by the American people. He is the president. He's democratically elected, and all Pierce did was just interview him. And but the people on the left don't even want him. Liberal right don't even want to humanize him. They want to everybody to see him as like a horrible man, and that's it. But really, Donald Trump, I mean, for me personally, I think he's good for Africa, as I'm African, and while he's in power, Africa has finally got a peace. And can I just say, like, Obama going to Kenya, who does he think he is going to Kenya? Like, so annoying. Like, he's gone back to his dad's village just to remain relevant, and he's clearly there to exploit, like, Kenya. And he's not even a full Kenyan. He's mixed race, and just like ridiculous. Like, who is he? He's just trying to ride on that whole, I'm Obama, I care about Africa. No, you don't. You're just trying to exploit Africa. Obama needs to leave Africa alone. Trump is far more better for Africa. Trump wants Africa to be united, just like America is right now. And they want to see a united, strong Africa. He wants to see it. And Obama's just a complete fool. He's just like Sadiq Khan, and he's clearly controlled by other people and their agendas to go into Africa. And we shouldn't be excited about this mixed race Obama coming in. And what did he do for black people? I don't really think he did much, to be honest. There was high unemployment. It's only when Trump came in that the unemployment has gone down. But if we look at it for black British people, the unemployment is just high as ever, and there's so many deaths. And we need a leader that will unite the United Kingdom and make things better for the black British people here, because nobody's including them in any discussion at the moment. They're not doing very well. Yeah, he really was. Yes, I agree. Obama was absolutely rubbish. He's so overhyped, and the media just used him as a diversity. Basically, when he was in power, like, they got away with so much, like, because there was a black guy in power, so like they were able to get away with it. Whereas with Trump, there is no way that they can get away with certain things, because he's on point. He's on Twitter. He's like, he mentioned it in an interview with Piers Morgan. He likes the immediacy of Twitter. When somebody talks rubbish to him, he responds straight away. And I just think that's really modern that he uses Twitter and he uses it well for his advantage. And he was saying how, yeah, I've got like, how many million followers, like millions of followers. And he was like talking to Pierce, like, oh, look, I know you, you're up there as well. Like, it's just so funny seeing all these old men, old timers, getting happy about Twitter. And he's like, yeah, I know you're on Twitter. So I like that. I like their friendship and how they know each other. And he's like, well, I've known you for decades, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, God, Pierce, honestly. Like, yeah, very interesting insight into it. And because he is the most powerful man in the world, and the press is making him sound like he's irresponsible and going to start a war. He clearly hasn't. He's caused peace, He's gone to these so-called enemies under Obama, and he's humanized them. He spoke to them, and he's made it more peaceful. And he even said it himself. Since I've had a meeting with the North Korean president, there has been no nuclear testing. So clearly he's a successful one, not Obama. So he made it very clear and he defended himself. And, I just think we need to hear his point of view instead of listening to the liberals and the fake protests. It's so organized that it was paid for by the American liberal right from CNN, because it was just, what was the reason for them to be marching up and down? Do they even know what's going on? It looks so fake. And they kept saying, we're marching because Trump is a racist, because Trump is a racist. It's like, but yet you won't even march for like black British people being unlawfully killed by the police. They wouldn't say anything about that. They'll be quiet about that, or they'll be quiet about, the knife crime that's taken place. So it's just, why is it all of a sudden now that Trump is a racist? Like, come on, stop throwing the word racism about, honestly. So, yeah, it just looks so fake. And it was just being used by the media like it was a, people planned protest. It wasn't. Okay, the posters were just like, they were clearly like they had been printed, ready, and they were just told, here's a placard, put it up, walk around and look like you're a real activist. It's just dopey people, privileged people. They don't even know why they were there, and they were just marching up and down going, we don't want Trump. It's just like, oh my God. And first of all, he's not even your president. He's a president from another sovereign country. I mean, wouldn't you be just offended to see somebody from another country protesting about your president that you elected? It doesn't sound right. And it just shows that, this whole, global, world media taking over the world, deciding who should be president. No, there's such thing as sovereignty. That's why, even Trump said it, without a border, there's no country. And it's like they're slowly overstepping their boundaries of, an elected government, and people using the media to try and control how another country has voted in somebody. No, you don't protest. You don't. There's no reason for you to just because he's powerful and has a very, very powerful position in the world as a country. There's no reason for you to protest, and it's not really coming from the people. It's coming from people above telling people to protest. So there's nothing natural about it. It's not spontaneous. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like, hey, let's go here and do this. No. It's just, and it's too big. It was just too big. There was too many people. So even people that were there, most of them were just probably there, like they thought it was a carnival. There was music. So, it doesn't necessarily mean they were there, to protest against Trump. But yeah, he avoided it because, yeah, as a result, he didn't. I mean, he doesn't want to face humiliation but it just shows how they're following him around and trying to protest about him. But it only seems to be in the UK because, England, is very much connected to America and the media and all that. So, yeah, that was quite strange. That was last week when he was here. And it just feels like he wasn't here. And the only time, like, we saw him was when his helicopters went brimming past, making so much noise. That's the only, like, time we saw him, and obviously a press conference. That was it. So it's very weird. Whereas when Obama was here, it's like overhyped. And I did clearly see him. By the way, I did see him. I actually went down to Buckingham Palace because I used to work around Bond Street, as I said earlier. And the day that he was there, I don't know, for some reason I got excited and I went and I wanted to see the first. I suppose I fell for it. The first black president. He's not even black. he's a mixed race, but even then they were selling the whole story that he was the first black president, and it's like, you know, just because his wife was black, he's automatically fully black. So yeah, I went to see him come out of Buckingham Palace, and there he was with that humongous car, and I was, yeah, I mean, I just, you know, fell for the hype, and I waved, and I clearly was the only black person there, and you know, everybody else was just white tourists, and I remember them looking at me like, oh my god, where did she come from? And I'm like, hey, I had my shades on. Hello. Why did I get so excited? But this was before I was woke and before I knew um, what Obama was about. You know, I fell for it. I fell for the whole, you know, the Messiah story about Obama, and I just think how foolish I was. I mean, obviously I was very young, but yeah, it just shows how manipulated you were and stuff. Like, you know, you'd actually go out of your way to Buckingham Palace like some tourist. I mean, though I never go there as a Londoner. We don't go to places like that. I mean, I only used to go there like Green Park because it was my lunch break and I needed to just chill and sit down in the park. But I actually went outside Buckingham Palace like a fool with all the other tourists, you know, waiting for Obama to come out. And then Prince Charles and Camilla followed. And, you know, yeah, they had like a state dinner. And it's just like, and then he went to visit Harry's. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, now I'm just totally against it because of, you know, his view of Africa. And now he's gone to Africa to try to get that, you know, yeah, I was your president. I was president, and I came, and you know, I'm a bum. No, please, yeah. I know we really did, didn't we? It just shows that we as people, as we're so foolish. Like we should really trust our own instincts. And you know, when you just sort of when you see like the press praising him and you know and making him sound to be like he's amazing, and you ignore all the bad stuff that he's been doing. You know, when the press ignores it, then if you know if they're praising him, then it must be something bad. You should question. Right now, they're really hating Trump, aren't they? They're putting really bad news coverage of him, and so that must mean he's good. You should see it that way. So that's why I think that Trump is good, because the fact that they don't like him. If they don't like him, then he must be good, because the media are not really in the people's interest, are they? So, because Trump is a strong person and he has his own mind, he's not someone that can be controlled like Obama, which he clearly is. So these weak mixed race ethnic minorities that are put in power. They're puppets. They're not real. There's always someone behind them. So yeah, that's why they could control Obama, but they can't control this guy. Oh my God, they cannot. I mean, he's a tough cookie. I mean, haven't you seen him on The Apprentice? Like, whoa. So yeah, that's why they don't like him. They put really bad propaganda against him. But again, like you know, we black British people don't get a voice, don't get interviewed. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing. We're not included in a conversation, but all these other people are. Like you know, all the liberal white people are included. Yeah, literally they do. They hate him, but you know, it can't just be them having a view. What about everybody else? You know, Trump. You know, there's a lot of black African American who support Trump. There is a lot. You know, they can clearly see the results. Like, you know, unemployment has gone down in America since he came in, and he even said it himself. Yes, he may be ignorant. He's not the most. You know, he doesn't think when he speaks. We know that he's a typical American, you know, he's been brought up thinking Americans are the best things since sliced bread. So obviously he reflects that um, culture. So they're using that just to attack him, you know, using his ignorance to attack him. Why can't they say it to a whole lot of other Americans? It's because of what he stands for. That's why. So yeah, it would be nice if. Oh, please. This whole, yes, I agree. I agree honestly, Betty. I definitely agree. They do claim that there is this, you know, we're all equal, and you know, we're all equal, and uh, there's diversity, but there clearly isn't, and it's just like they're denying it. Why are you denying it, for God's sake? There's no need to deny it. Clearly, there is no diversity. I mean, they weren't even interviewed you. They made it seem like when it was on the press coverage, like black British people in London don't exist, and they're completely being airbrushed out of the conversation, which is really sad. And yeah, they are not represented, and this needs to change. You know, even in America, they try and bring like a diverse view. Even people on the panel, you know, news stations, they bring diverse people to have a point of view. Why is there not enough? Why is there not any diverse people from British background put on British channels talking about Trump? Why is that? Utopia? What does that mean? What do you mean by that, Betty? Uh, yeah, yeah. So if there was, you know, it just shows that there is no equality and there is no diversity because they can't even bring one black person on the panel to discuss these issues around Trump because they do not want black people to have a voice, a say in any matter, any global matter. All they want us to talk about is flipping knife crime. Yeah, the state, even in knife crime, you know, talking about it, they don't even interview black people, British people. They don't even bring them on the panel to talk about the crime. Yeah, they have, you know, as I said in my previous post, they have white liberal experts in urban studies to talk about British London life crime, whether it's in the UK. So yeah, I understand that, you know, Channel 4 do a lot more. Definitely Channel 4 is very progressive and they try and bring a lot more voices in on the channel. But all the others like the BBC, like it's just pure propaganda. And can I just say, Trevor Noah, like he's so annoying. Like I swear NBC put him like as the cover of their channel. I mean, because obviously they hate Trump so much. So is it CNN or one of them? They put him like as the cover because oh please, we are not equal. 100%. Like all you have to do is come to London and see whether we are equal. And what you clearly see in London is, you know, the Uber drivers are all black, all the taxi drivers and all the bicycle delivery drivers are black. And if you watch the Channel 4 program, you know, who are the working poor and who are homeless and currently very, very disenfranchised and not included in politics, the black people, and it's gotten worse. And can I just say, well done to France. France won the World Cup. That is a truly diverse football team. Okay? France have seen talent, they've utilized their diverse ethnic minority talent to win them the World Cup. So well done to France. They have a very young prime minister, you know, Macron, trendy. He even does the dab. He does the, you know, the local hip hop dance. He is up there with modernity, with what's happening in the world, social media, with diversity. And we do know that, you know, France is a very, that's where like socialism was born, you know, liberté, égalité. What is the other one? I forgot the third one. I have no idea what it is, but it's in French. But yeah, the whole state is built on equality. Yeah, so France won the World Cup, and most of the team were French, were African from the French-speaking zones, and they won them the World Cup, and they equally, you know, were proud of them, and they were hugging them. Whereas in the UK, like I mean in England, like even the black football players, they're not allowed to shine, they're not allowed to be themselves, and you know, like you know, and the French footballers can be as cocky and proud, and you know, it's encouraged, and you know, it just really, I can see France really united with that World Cup win in England. If England won, they clearly will not win because, you know, the country's not united. There is a very bad segregation going on, and you can clearly see it in the football team. You know, the black players are treated like shit. You know, they're not respected. So why will they win the World Cup when you treat them like crap? The French manager teaches treats the black players, you know, well, and they're respected, and the black fans, black French fans, you know, they support the French team. They were actually, I saw them in London. There were so many French people during the World Cup on Saturday. Literally, all I heard was French speaking people, and yeah, black French Londoner, French people, white French people. They were all united, waving the red, white, and blue flag all over London, and there was a big community. And congratulations to them, and they were just so loud, and they were singing Marseille and Marseille. Even though I've never heard of it, but yeah, they were literally singing Marseille, Marseille. Sounds like some sort of freedom song, but yeah, they were all so united. It just shows that France have got it right. And these people, they were no older than like 23. They were young people. So as I was saying to somebody earlier on today, the young French people, clearly their jobs there pay them living wages for them to have enough money to get on the Eurostar, to hang out in London, and they come regularly. Okay, they're clearly very young and they're dressed in hip hop clothes, just like our Londoners here, but yet they have more money because they get paid decent wages, not these crappy 0 hour wages or these crappy apprenticeship wages. So it just, when I saw all these young people in London, everyone was looking at them like, oh my God, they're so young and they're here, like they can afford to come to London every week. So the government's clearly doing something right. But yeah, our Londoners, they can't even afford the bus home, they can't even afford the train fees, let alone Eurostar fees. So it just shows the major difference. Like, it wasn't posh French people coming, these were teenagers, young people getting on the Eurostar to enjoy themselves in London. And, I did say before, it's just very sad for our London youth that they can never have the opportunity to benefit from the EU and going and hopping on and off the bus because they will never get a decent wage to do that. So yeah, it just shows how young people are not really, um, they're not high up on the ministers' lists, the MPs list. And it's a shame. University is so expensive. In France it's free. They have so many like benefits, and I can just see like how confident the French people are, and our London youth are just downtrodden. They look miserable, and that's why they're turning to crime, and you can clearly see it. So they really need to start engaging young people, stop taking the piss with young people. Seriously, it's unfair that the French teenagers can come here and enjoy the football and get back on the train home, you know, after after they've been going to shopping on Oxford Street. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that about the World Cup and how France won, and yeah, seems okay. And also the whole hype before the World Cup about it being full of racism. What was that all about? Like, shut up. Who made up all this lies? The French team are like 99% black and nothing happened to them. They're all marching up and down the pitch, waving the World Cup around, taking off their shirts. Nothing happened to them. But before the World Cup started, they were like, oh, Sterling's going to get abused by racists. Oh, the black England players, we had to tell them not to bring them. Why is the press trying to scare them? Moscow. Russia's a civilized country, surely. Its capital city is Moscow. They're not going to. I mean, there was nothing. There was nothing, and even I was like, I'm not watching it because even I was affected by this foolery. Honestly, there was nothing wrong with it. It was a good World Cup. Yeah, it's like they're bringing the political thing in, and they must feel so ashamed of themselves because England did surprisingly well, and then they were promoting everybody to watch it after they were telling us that it wasn't safe and Sterling was going to be attacked. It's like they wanted Sterling to be attacked. Like, how are you going to win when you're scaring your footballers? Then nothing happened. It looked like a really enjoyable World Cup. Everybody enjoyed themselves, and all the football teams had a good time, and a predominantly black French team won. So it can't be that bad, could it? No, nothing happened. So it's almost like they were telling all yeah, exactly. First of all, the Russians, they actually worship a black Jesus. They're very smart. They know what the real Jesus looks like. So if you look at their idols, at their paintings, they worship a brown Jesus, which is exactly what Jesus looked like, brown Mary. So, if you look at their icons, that's the original color they're supposed to be, is brown, like burnt brass. So the Russians aren't that stupid. They follow the right religion, and they know what Jesus looked like. So they can't be that racist if they're worshipping a black Jesus. Yeah. So yeah, I just found that a bit weird. So yeah, seemed like an enjoyable World Cup. And apart from that, what else can I talk about? Yeah, summer holidays is coming up. Again, as I mentioned, summer holidays. Um, that's when there's no school and all these young people are going to be on the streets. So yeah, nothing better to do. Bored, uh, expensive. So, oh dear. I just hope it's a nice, peaceful summer holiday and nothing happens. But really, they should have some sort of entertainment, some sort of happiness. Carnival's coming up, so that should be interesting. But yeah, the posh people of Nottingham were trying to ban it the other day, saying, oh, it should be in a park. But no, everybody protested. Carnival is a national holiday. People come there from all over the Europe to come and enjoy Carnival. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. And yeah, so I am Miss Ajarina Shooting Star. I hope you enjoyed my vlog, and I'll be back with another one. Hope you all have a nice evening and a good weekend. Take care. Bye.